If you want to win in life, it starts with one simple decision to educate yourself every single day. But what does that really mean? It's not just about sitting in a classroom or getting a degree. It's about constantly learning, growing, and challenging your mind to improve. Every piece of knowledge you gain adds to your ability to succeed. So why do so many people overlook the power of daily learning? How can something as simple as reading a book or listening to a podcast transform your future? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how making education your daily priority can change your life. I'll share why it's essential for success and how it impacts every decision you make. This isn't just about gaining knowledge. It's about building the foundation for the life you want. Stick with me, and let's dive into how you can start winning today by committing to your education. Number 1, commit to learning something new every single day. You know what's painful? Waking up one day and realizing you've spent years just going through the motions. You've been busy. Yes, tired, no doubt. But deep down, you know you haven't grown. You've just repeated the same year over and over again, hoping something will magically change. That's not living, that's surviving. And surviving will never be enough for a person like you. Not when you know you were meant for more. If you're not learning something new every single day, you're not just standing still, you're falling behind. This world doesn't wait for anyone. It doesn't care how tired you are, how hard your past has been, or how good your intentions are. The world rewards the person who shows up, sharpens their mind, and refuses to settle for what they already know. That's what separates the winners from the rest. The ones who win don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't complain about what they didn't get. They take the little they have, and they grow it. Day by day, step by step, lesson by lesson. If you want to win in life, you need to make one non-negotiable decision. Educate yourself every single day, not just when it's convenient, not just when you're motivated, every single day. That's the price of growth. That's the entry fee to the life you really want. When I was young, I thought working harder was the key. So I worked, and I worked, but I stayed poor, not just financially. I was poor mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And then someone gave me a book, just one book. And in that moment I realized something that changed my life forever. You don't get paid for time. You get paid for the value you bring. And you don't bring value unless you learn how. That moment opened my eyes, because once I started learning, I started changing. And once I started changing, everything else changed too. Knowledge builds confidence. It builds clarity. It gives you the tools to take on life with power instead of fear. And you don't need to be in a classroom. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't even need a lot of time. All you need is the will to grow. That's what it comes down to. Do you want to grow, or do you want to stay the same? Do you want to rise or repeat? The truth is, your mind is the most powerful weapon you'll ever have. And yet most people leave it untouched. They feed their body every day, but starve their mind for years. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, why they feel behind, why they feel like life is passing them by. It's because they've stopped growing. They've given up on their mind. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve better than that. If you read 10 pages of a good book every day, that's over 3,500 pages a year. That's wisdom stacked on top of wisdom. That's ideas piling up and building a new version of you. And if you think that doesn't matter, think again. One idea can change your direction. One lesson can save you from 5 years of pain. One insight can help you build a life you're proud of. But you don't get that by accident. You get that by making learning a daily discipline. There are people walking around with no direction, and it's not because they're dumb. It's not because they're lazy. It's because no one ever told them the truth. That education isn't something you finish when school ends. It's something you take ownership of. Every day you learn. You take back control. You take back power. You take back your future. Some people say, I don't have time, but they watch 2 hours of television. They scroll through their phone for hours. It's not about time, it's about priorities. And until you put your mind first, nothing in your life will rise. Your income won't rise. Your confidence won't rise. Your leadership won't rise. It all starts with you. It starts in your mind. You're not behind because of your circumstances. You're behind because you stopped learning. You got comfortable. You started believing that what you already know is enough. But it's not. It never is. The moment you stop learning is the moment you stop leading. The moment you stop learning is the moment life starts shrinking instead of expanding. You want more in life? Learn more every single day. Ask questions, read books, watch people who are better than you, and ask how they think. Take notes. Not because it's easy, because it's worth it. Growth doesn't always feel good, but staying the same always hurts worse. You know what confidence really is? It's not pretending to know everything. It's knowing that whatever comes, you can handle it. And you build that by learning. You build that by preparing. You build that by sharpening your mind so that no matter what hits you, you're ready. That's what gives you peace. That's what gives you power. So here's what I want you to understand. Every day you skip your education. You delay your dreams. Every day you say, I'll learn later. You push your future further out of reach. You can either grow now or regret later. That's the choice. And it's a hard truth. But it's also your way out. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to care enough about your life to stop wasting it. That's what learning is. It's caring enough to say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to know more. I'm going to take my life seriously. And it's not just about success. It's about who you become. The more you learn, the more you grow into someone who can lead, who can serve, who can rise above struggle and stay strong when life tries to break you. You become someone you respect, someone you trust. That's real power. That's real freedom. Some days you won't feel like it. Some days your mind will want to quit. That's when it matters most, because discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's where you build strength. That's where you earn self-respect. And remember this, your future isn't built in one day. It's built in thousands of small moments. A page here, a lesson there, a video that makes you think, a journal entry that clears your thoughts, a conversation that stretches your mind. It all adds up. You just have to stay in the game. People look at someone successful and think it must have been talent. It must have been luck. But more often, it's discipline. It's the boring, consistent, quiet work that no one sees. It's the decision to grow when it would have been easier to scroll. That's what builds a real winner. That's what builds a mind that can't be broken. So if you're tired of starting over, if you're tired of not feeling proud of your life, if you're tired of wondering why others are rising while you're stuck, then start learning again. Start small. Start simple. But start now. Read a book. Watch a talk. Write down what you learned. And do it again tomorrow. Do it until it becomes part of who you are. And when you fall off, get back up. Don't let guilt or shame keep you down. The only thing that matters is your next decision. Make it count. Choose to grow. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need the perfect setup. You just need the hunger to improve. Every single day you grow is another step toward the life you want. So don't waste it. Don't wait for the pain to get worse. Start now. Build your mind. Build your confidence. Build your future. Because the truth is simple. If you want to win in life, you have to earn it. And you earn it by growing into someone who can handle the life you're asking for. That's what daily education does. It prepares you to hold what you're working for. It prepares you to rise. It prepares you to win. So decide, right here, right now. Today is the day you stop being casual about your mind. Today is the day you take your future seriously. Today is the day you commit to learning something new every single day. Your best life doesn't start when you get the job. It doesn't start when you hit the goal. It starts when you decide to grow. That's the real beginning. That's when your life starts to shift. And if you stay with it, if you keep learning, if you keep building, one day you'll wake up and realize you didn't just change your life. You became someone who could live it well. And that is what it means to win. Number 2. Dedicate time each day to feed your mind. You have no idea how powerful your mind really is until you decide to feed it with purpose every single day. Most people go their entire lives living off scraps. mental leftovers from yesterday's thinking, old beliefs they never questioned, outdated information they never upgraded. And then they wonder why nothing changes. They wonder why they feel stuck, confused, unsure of themselves. The answer is simple. They haven't taken time, real time, to feed their mind the way it deserves to be fed. If you want to win in life, you have to start with your mind, because your thoughts shape your decisions, and your decisions shape your future. You can't run your life on empty thoughts. You can't rely on yesterday's wisdom to solve today's problems. You need fresh thinking. You need clarity. You need focus. And that comes from making a real decision to feed your mind daily. Not randomly, not occasionally, daily. When you wake up in the morning, you have a choice. You can scroll through noise. You can drown in distractions. Or you can take a few minutes, just a few, to give your mind something it can use. A new idea, a deeper question, a better strategy. It doesn't have to take hours. What matters is the intention. What matters is the direction. The moment you stop treating your mind like an afterthought, your whole life starts to shift. You've been told to exercise your body, and you know what happens when you don't. It gets weak, slow, stiff. But what do you think happens to your mind when you stop feeding it? It loses sharpness. It forgets how to focus. It starts to doubt. It plays small. It avoids hard truths. And worst of all, it forgets your potential. It drifts. It reacts instead of leads. And if you go too long without feeding it, you wake up one day and you don't even recognize the person you've become. Your mind is your center. It's the place where your confidence is built, where your ideas are born, where your fears are challenged, where your vision gets shaped. But that only happens when you give it the fuel it needs. And the truth is, most people starve their mind while feeding everything else. They feed their fears. They feed their doubts. They feed their distractions. But they don't sit down and say, what does my mind need today so I can become better, stronger, clearer? You don't need more talent. You don't need more luck. You don't even need more time. You just need to carve out part of your day, even if it's just 15 minutes, and make it non-negotiable. This is your time to grow. This is your time to build yourself from the inside out. Read something that challenges you. Listen to someone wiser than you. Ask yourself hard questions. Reflect on what's not working. That's how you feed your mind. That's how you train yourself to rise. Some people say they're too busy, but being busy is not the same as building. You can be busy doing things that take you nowhere, and you can be quiet, still, focused, and grow more in 15 minutes than someone who's running in circles for 10 hours. Feeding your mind isn't about how much time you have. It's about how serious you are about changing your life. It's about whether or not you're tired of repeating the same patterns, stuck in the same thoughts, fighting the same battles over and over again. When you feed your mind every day, you become harder to break. You start making decisions from strength instead of fear. You become less reactive, more strategic. You stop falling for distractions. You stop chasing approval. You become clear about who you are and what you want. And people notice. They see it in your eyes. They feel it in your presence. That's not arrogance. That's a mind that's been trained to think for itself. That's a person who has fed their mind until it became unshakable. And here's the truth most people ignore. The world is full of noise, opinions, fears, gossip, trends, chaos. If you don't actively feed your mind something stronger, something wiser, something deeper, that noise becomes your thinking. You start living out other people's fears. You start repeating their limitations. And before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle that isn't even yours. That's why daily feeding is non-negotiable. It's how you protect your mind. It's how you protect your future. You don't feed your mind because it's easy. You do it because it's necessary. Just like you brush your teeth. Just like you eat food. You do it because if you don't, the decay sets in. Not all at once, but slowly. And that slow decay is what kills potential. It's what erodes dreams. It's what turns vision into doubt and ambition into regret. There are no shortcuts here, no magic formulas, no overnight changes. Just you, deciding that your mind matters, that your peace matters, that your thinking matters. And if you make that decision, everything else starts to align. You don't have to figure it all out today, but you do have to start, and you have to mean it. Start simple. Find a book that pushes you. Listen to a talk that speaks to your struggle. Write down what you're learning. Ask yourself what it means for your life. This isn't about collecting facts. This is about transformation. This is about feeding your mind in a way that helps you become someone who doesn't crumble when life gets hard. Someone who doesn't panic when things fall apart. Someone who has the strength to stay grounded, no matter what's going on around them. Don't wait until life forces you to change. Feed your mind now so you're ready. So you're not scrambling for strength when the storm hits, because the storm will come, and when it does, you'll either rise or collapse. And that depends on what you've been feeding your mind every day. This is how confidence is built, not by pretending to be strong, not by avoiding failure, but by preparing your mind to think clearly, even when things are uncertain. By feeding it with ideas that stretch you, strategies that ground you, principles that hold you together when everything else is shaking. That's not just smart. That's survival. That's how you win. And this isn't just about business or success. This is about how you show up in your relationships, in your decisions, in the way you treat yourself. When your mind is sharp, you don't settle for disrespect. You don't tolerate confusion. You don't keep quiet when your voice matters. You become someone who sees clearly and acts with intention. That's what a fed mind gives you. Power with peace, strength with direction, purpose with precision. Every day you skip, this is a day you miss out on a stronger version of you. It's a day you let life control you instead of you controlling life. So don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't treat this as optional. Feed your mind like your life depends on it. Because it does. You're not here to repeat what the world told you. You're not here to stay stuck in the past. You're here to grow. You're here to evolve. You're here to create a life that reflects your best thinking. But that only happens when you take this seriously. When you stop chasing distractions and start building discipline. Discipline means you show up for your mind even when it's not fun. Even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching. And over time, that discipline turns into confidence. That confidence turns into results. And those results remind you that you're not stuck, you're not helpless. You're not behind. You're just one decision away from a better mind. One day away from a better life. One choice away from a future you can be proud of. Feed your mind every day, and it will change how you see everything. It will change how you see yourself, how you see your time, how you see your opportunities. You'll stop waiting. You'll stop doubting. You'll start acting. You'll start moving. You'll start building something real. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show up for your mind today. Take it seriously. Give it the attention it deserves. And do it again tomorrow. Stack the days. Stack the learning. Stack the growth. Because one day that stack becomes your breakthrough. That stack becomes your freedom. That stack becomes your legacy. So here's the challenge. Not for tomorrow. Not for next week. For today, dedicate time to feed your mind. Not because it's easy. Not because you feel like it. But because your life deserves it. Because your goals depend on it. Because your future is watching, and it's waiting on what you choose to do right now. The people who win in life are not always the loudest, the smartest, or the most talented. They're the ones who commit to feeding their mind when no one else does. They're the ones who understand that mental strength isn't a gift. It's a habit, a decision, a daily discipline. And now it's your turn to make that decision. Dedicate the time. Make it sacred. Make it yours. Because nothing will shift in your life until your mind is ready. And the only way to get ready is to feed it daily. Not one day, every day. That's how you rise. That's how you lead. That's how you win. Number 3. Prioritize knowledge over entertainment to change your life. If your mind isn't growing, your life isn't moving. It's that simple. You can have all the ambition in the world. But if you spend your time entertaining yourself instead of educating yourself, your future will never take shape. We live in a world that thrives on distraction. Everywhere you look, someone's trying to get your attention, to keep you laughing, scrolling, clicking, consuming. But what they don't tell you is that while you're being entertained, someone else is getting ahead. Someone else is learning what you're ignoring. Someone else is building while you're watching. And that gap between you and them, that gap gets wider every day you choose entertainment over knowledge. There comes a point in your life where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to stop sugarcoating your habits. Stop pretending that your free time isn't costing you your future. Look around. The people who are living lives of excellence didn't get there by watching shows or endlessly browsing for something to amuse them. They got there by feeding their mind what it needed, not what it wanted. They outgrew distraction. They outworked laziness. They didn't sacrifice their future for the cheap comfort of entertainment. They made a decision to learn every single day, and not just once in a while, not just when it felt good. They made it part of who they are. Most people don't understand this because they've been trained to think that learning ends after school. They get their diploma and suddenly believe they're done growing, done studying, done sharpening their mind. But life doesn't work that way. The real education begins the moment you take full responsibility for where your mind is going. When you realize that nobody is going to force you to grow, nobody is going to drag you to excellence. If you don't prioritize knowledge, nobody will do it for you. And the price of not doing it is high. Confusion, fear, doubt, lack of progress, wasted time, repeated mistakes. You need to start asking yourself better questions. Not what's on tonight, or what video should I watch next, but what do I still not know that's holding me back? What's missing in my understanding that's keeping me stuck? You see, most problems in life aren't because we're not capable. They happen because we don't know enough. We don't understand how to manage our thoughts, how to plan effectively, how to discipline our time, how to communicate with strength. These aren't talents, they're skills, and skills are learned. But they can't be learned if you're always tuned into something that doesn't teach you anything. You've got to protect your mind like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. What you allow into it either builds you or breaks you, either develops you or distracts you. There's no neutral. You think it's harmless to scroll through a couple videos, play a few games, catch up on gossip. But while you're doing that, your standards are dropping. Your attention span is shrinking. Your ability to focus is dying slowly. And you don't even feel it until it's too late, until your motivation disappears, until your dreams feel out of reach, until you look back and realize you've been stuck in the same place for months. But here's the truth. It's not too late. You can flip the switch right now. You can take back control of your input. You can start treating your attention like the currency it is. You can start investing it in things that make you stronger, smarter, more disciplined, more focused. You can start feeding your mind truth instead of distraction, discipline instead of comfort, structure instead of chaos. And once you do, everything changes. You start to think more clearly. You start to speak with more confidence. You start to move through your day with purpose instead of drifting. You begin to attract new opportunities because you're not the same person anymore. You're not a consumer. You're a creator. You're not entertained. You're educated. You're not waiting. You're building. And this isn't about being boring or never relaxing. It's about choosing your direction. It's about waking up and realizing that life is short, and you don't have time to waste on things that don't add value. You need to stop asking, what's fun? And start asking, what's useful? What's necessary? What's going to help me get where I want to go? Because if you keep prioritizing entertainment, your future will be built on shallow foundations, and shallow foundations don't survive the storms. The best part, you don't need hours each day to start, just a small shift. Start with 30 minutes of deep learning. Choose a book that stretches your thinking. Listen to someone who has wisdom, not just opinions. Take notes, review them, apply what you learn. Make learning an action, not just a theory. When something clicks, use it. When something challenges you, explore it. Don't just understand. Integrate. Make it part of how you think, how you speak, how you lead your life. The more knowledge you gain, the more confidence you build. Not the fake kind that comes from pretending to be more than you are. The real kind that's rooted in clarity and competence. You know what you know. You understand your path. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop comparing. You stop chasing other people's opinions. You become grounded, focused, calm. Because you're not reacting to life anymore, you're creating it. This level of discipline doesn't come naturally. It has to be developed. It has to be chosen again and again. And yes, at first it feels hard. It feels unfamiliar. Your brain will resist. It will crave the easy way out. But if you push through that resistance, you begin to break free. You rise above the noise. You stop being controlled by what's around you and start being directed by what's within you. And when people around you notice, don't be surprised if they don't understand. Most people won't get why you turn off the TV to read, why you skip a night out to study, why you choose silence over chaos. But that's okay. You're not doing it for validation. You're doing it for elevation. You're not trying to impress. You're trying to progress. And once you start seeing results, you'll realize you never needed entertainment to feel alive. You needed purpose, direction, depth. You'll notice your conversations change. You won't be interested in gossip or mindless chatter. You'll crave depth. You'll want to talk about ideas, breakthroughs, principles. You'll attract people who are also growing. You'll build a circle that challenges you, not distracts you. And that shift alone can change your life more than any show ever could. Now is the time to draw a line. You've been entertained enough. You've laughed enough. You've scrolled enough. It's time to feed your hunger for more. It's time to put yourself in environments that elevate your mindset. It's time to chase understanding instead of amusement, growth instead of escape. Because the life you want won't come from a screen. It will come from the habits you build behind the scenes. Decide that your mind is worth more. Decide that your future deserves more. Decide that every day, no matter what happens, you will feed your mind something that stretches it, something that challenges you to think harder, to aim higher, to be better. And if you stay consistent, if you stay serious, if you refuse to lower your standards, you will be shocked at how fast your life begins to move forward. You have the time, you have the ability, you have the tools. What you need is the decision, the discipline, the clarity to say, from this day forward I put knowledge first. And once you say that, and mean it, everything in your life will start aligning with that decision. Doors will open, ideas will come, confidence will rise. Why? Because you finally stopped entertaining yourself and started educating yourself. You finally took control. You finally said, this is my life, and I'm not wasting it. Number 4, take ownership of your education and build your future. Most people are waiting for someone to come and hand them the life they want, but the truth is, no one's coming. No one's going to force you to grow. No one's going to make you successful. And no one's going to build your future for you. That's your job. That's your responsibility. The moment you realize that your education is yours to own, not a teacher's, not your parents', not society's, but yours and yours alone, that's the moment your life begins to change. That's when you stop blaming, stop waiting, and start building. You see, education isn't just about schools and degrees. It's not about tests or classrooms. Education is about preparing your mind for the life you want to live. It's about collecting the knowledge and the skills that give you the power to shape your own future. But most people treat it like a chore. They go through the motions, memorizing facts they'll forget, just trying to pass instead of trying to grow. They do what they're told without ever taking control of what really matters, how they think, how they decide, how they understand the world. That kind of passive learning, it doesn't build strong people. It builds people who follow, who react, who hope for a lucky break, instead of creating their own breakthrough. You've got to decide that your education is not optional. It's essential. And not just any education, the kind that builds you, not the kind that fills time, the kind that sharpens your decisions, strengthens your discipline, and gives you the tools to face the real world, not just pass through it. You've got to choose what you feed your mind. You've got to seek out the lessons life is trying to teach you. You've got to learn from failure, from pain, from challenge, because those are the real classrooms. Those are the moments that test what you really know, Taking ownership means you stop waiting for someone to tell you what to learn. You start asking questions. You start digging for answers. You start chasing wisdom instead of waiting for permission. And when you do that, something shifts. You start noticing opportunities that used to pass you by. You start connecting dots that others miss. You start becoming someone who doesn't just survive life. You shape it. You guide it. You take the wheel and drive it in the direction of your dreams. It's easy to point fingers when life isn't going your way. Easy to say you didn't have the right mentors, or the right resources, or the right start. But the truth is, the most powerful education doesn't come from perfect conditions. It comes from a relentless decision to learn no matter what, to turn every obstacle into a lesson, to turn every mistake into a stepping stone. That's the kind of ownership that builds people who don't just succeed, they transform. You've got to understand something. Life doesn't care what you say you want. It responds to what you work for. It responds to the person you're becoming. You can talk all day about your goals, but if you're not building the mind to handle them, they'll crush you. Dreams require structure. They require clarity, competence, and confidence. And none of those things come from guessing. They come from preparation. They come from work. They come from study, reflection, practice, and constant adjustment. You have to wake up each day with a sense of mission. You've got to look at your time and ask, what can I learn today that makes me better tomorrow? That kind of mindset separates winners from wishers, because while most people waste their days reacting, you'll be growing. While others avoid challenges, you'll be leaning into them. While they distract themselves with noise, you'll be building your foundation in silence. And here's something you need to hear. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Not a boss, not a teacher, not a politician, not even your friends or family. The only one who's going to change your life is the person staring back at you in the mirror. That's who you've got to count on. That's who you've got to develop. That's who you've got to build into someone strong enough to create the life you see in your head. You do that by choosing to take responsibility for your growth. Every day. Not once a month. Not when it's convenient. But every single day. You do it by reading what others won't read. Watching what others won't watch. Listening to people who've been where you want to go. Practicing what you learn, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Because the discomfort, that's the sign you're expanding. That's the sign you're getting stronger. And if you want to win, you can't treat education like a side hobby. You've got to make it part of your identity. You've got to believe that every single thing you learn matters, because it does. It compounds a little bit today, a little more tomorrow. And over time, it becomes the edge that separates you from the pack. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you decided to go deeper than most ever will. You decided to outgrow your excuses, to outlearn your fears, to outwork your limits. This isn't about getting ahead of others. It's about getting ahead of who you used to be. It's about becoming someone who can stand tall in the face of uncertainty. Someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Someone who can see through the fog of life and know exactly where they're headed. Because they've trained their mind to be that clear, that focused, that sharp. Nobody hands you that kind of clarity. You earn it. You earn it by deciding, again and again, that your growth matters more than your comfort. That your progress matters more than other people's opinions. That your future matters more than momentary distraction. That's what ownership looks like. And once you start living that way, you start attracting new energy. People begin to see the difference in how you think, how you act, how you carry yourself. You walk differently when you've educated yourself. You speak differently when you've done the work. You don't need to impress anyone. You already know your value. You begin to respect yourself in a whole new way, because now you're not just drifting, you're designing. You're not just hoping, you're planning. And every day you're putting bricks down, real ones, not fake motivation, not empty talk, real work backed by real knowledge, producing real results. The truth is, you don't need permission to grow. You don't need approval to start. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need to care enough about your own future to stop waiting and start learning. The people who win in life, they're not the lucky ones. They're the ones who refuse to settle. They're the ones who said, if I don't know it, I'll learn it. If I've never done it, I'll figure it out. If I'm weak at it, I'll train until I'm not. You don't need to be the smartest. You just need to be consistent. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the courage to ask better questions. You don't need the best resources. You need the right mindset. The kind that doesn't wait to be taught but chooses to seek. That's the difference between average and exceptional. So make the decision today to become the architect of your own education. Choose to study the things that will elevate your life. Choose to learn the skills that build confidence and freedom. Choose to stop blaming what you didn't get and start creating what you still can have. You've got time. You've got power. You've got a mind that's capable of more than you realize. But only if you use it. Every moment you delay is a moment you could have been getting stronger. Every excuse you make is a wall between you and your growth. Tear it down. Pick up a book. Watch something that builds you. Write your thoughts. Reflect on what you've learned. Practice until it sticks. Apply until it becomes who you are. And never ever forget, you're not learning for the sake of learning. You're learning to build something. To build a future that doesn't depend on luck or chance or the approval of others. A future that comes from within. A future that's shaped by every small decision you make to take control of your education. That's what winners do. That's how leaders are built. That's how you create a life you're proud of. You start with ownership, and you never let it go. Number 5. Challenge your thinking by exploring new perspectives daily. Your mind will stay small if you only feed it familiar thoughts. Growth never comes from comfort. It comes from the courage to see the world through a lens that challenges you, questions you, and pushes you beyond what you already know. Every breakthrough you're searching for in life depends on one thing: your willingness to break away from limited thinking and stretch your perspective every single day. You've been told who you are, what's possible, what you should believe, how you should live, from your environment, your culture, your upbringing, the media you consume. It's all shaped your worldview. But here's the reality. If you never step outside of what you've already accepted as truth, you will never know how much more you're capable of understanding. You will walk through life with mental blinders on, seeing only what you've been conditioned to see. And you'll call it reality, when in fact it's just a tiny corner of it. Challenging your thinking isn't about being rebellious or contrary for the sake of it. It's about actively choosing to evolve. It's about recognizing that what got you here won't get you to the next level. If you want to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you have to break the cycle of repeated thought patterns. That's what keeps most people stuck. They wake up with the same mindset, believe the same assumptions, and make the same decisions they did yesterday. And then they wonder why nothing changes. To change your life, you have to change the way you see. That means exposing yourself to new perspectives, not once a year, not when it's convenient, but daily. It means listening to someone who disagrees with you without getting defensive. It means reading books that challenge your worldview instead of just confirming it. It means asking yourself hard questions. What if I'm wrong about this? What if there's more to the story? What if I've limited my potential because I've limited my beliefs? This level of thinking requires humility. It requires the maturity to admit that you don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. The smartest people in the world don't cling to their ideas. They upgrade them. They're open to new data. They're curious. They're students of life, not prisoners of ego. They understand that every day brings an opportunity to evolve. If they're willing to challenge their assumptions, most people avoid this work. They stay in echo chambers. They surround themselves with people who think exactly like them, live exactly like them, and reinforce exactly what they already believe. Why? Because it's comfortable. Because it feels safe. But that safety comes with a cost. Mental stagnation. You're not meant to spend your life defending your current point of view. You're meant to expand it. You're meant to grow into someone wiser, deeper, stronger than who you were yesterday. When you begin to stretch your thinking, something incredible happens. You start noticing ideas that used to fly over your head. You start connecting dots that didn't even exist in your previous mindset. You stop seeing problems as obstacles and start seeing them as challenges to your thinking. And in that process, you don't just gain knowledge, you gain power. Power over your reactions, power over your decisions, power over the way you shape your future. The truth is, the world isn't black and white, it's full of nuance, complexity and contradiction. And if you want to thrive in it, you have to develop the mental flexibility to hold more than one perspective at a time. You have to be able to say, I see where I'm coming from, but I also understand why someone else might see it differently. That level of awareness makes you wiser. It makes you more grounded. It makes you someone who can lead, adapt, and grow without needing to control everything around you. When you start doing this kind of work daily, it doesn't just shift your mindset, it transforms your entire identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who isn't afraid to learn, someone who's strong enough to confront their biases, someone who doesn't run from discomfort but walks into it, knowing that's where real transformation begins. You stop clinging to being right and start focusing on getting better. That's where your strength starts to compound. And the beautiful thing about this process, it's accessible. You don't need money or connections or a degree to challenge your thinking. All you need is intention. You can listen to a podcast that introduces a new idea. You can read a book from a completely different culture or time period. You can have a conversation with someone who lives a life nothing like yours. You can journal about your thoughts, unpack your assumptions, and ask yourself what you might be missing. Every single day is a chance to become more than you were the day before, if you're willing to explore new mental ground. The greatest breakthroughs in human history didn't come from people who followed the crowd. They came from those who dared to see differently, from minds that refused to accept limits, from thinkers who challenged the status quo. That kind of vision doesn't come from copying, it comes from stretching. It comes from thinking in a way that others are too scared or too lazy to attempt. If you want to separate yourself in this world, become someone who's mentally agile. Become someone who doesn't flinch when their beliefs are questioned. Become someone who craves the truth more than the comfort of being right. That mindset will take you further than talent ever could, because the world is changing fast, and those who survive aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who are willing to relearn the fastest. Look around. How many people are stuck simply because they refuse to update their thinking? They keep recycling the same opinions, even when those opinions keep producing pain. They hold on to outdated beliefs because it feels familiar, even if it's keeping them miserable. That's not strength. That's fear wearing the mask of certainty, and it's holding them back from the life they could be living. But not you. You're here for more. You're here because deep down you know your mind is capable of greatness. You're here because you're not afraid to do the hard work of growing mentally. You're not satisfied with staying where you are. You're committed to becoming someone greater. That commitment shows up in the way you think, in the way you ask questions, in the way you seek out new information that most people ignore. That's your edge. That's your path. That's how you separate yourself from average. Challenge your thinking every day and you'll start seeing patterns others miss. You'll solve problems faster. You'll respond to setbacks with resilience instead of panic. You'll become someone who can walk into chaos and still make wise choices, because your thinking is strong, flexible, and sharp. That's the kind of person who leads. That's the kind of person who wins. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being open. It's about developing the discipline to think with clarity in a noisy world. Most people don't do that. They follow, they react, they absorb whatever is loudest and repeat it. But you're different. You're building something rare. A mind that isn't controlled by trends, pressure, or fear. A mind that's free to explore, to question, to evolve. You do that by seeking out uncomfortable ideas, by reading things you don't initially agree with, by listening instead of always trying to prove a point, by remembering that the goal isn't to win arguments. The goal is to grow, and growth requires exposure. Exposure to the unfamiliar, the uncomfortable, the unexpected. That's how you expand. That's how you level up. So keep stretching, keep searching, keep thinking, in ways that challenge the old version of you. Because the person you're becoming is not built by accident. It's built through the conscious decision to never stop learning, never stop questioning, and never stop growing. Your mind is your most powerful tool, and it sharpens every time you choose to see the world in a new way. Use it, train it, trust it, and watch how far it takes you. Number 6. Stop waiting for opportunities and create your own growth. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody is going to knock on your door and hand you the life you dream of. If you want to grow, if you want to evolve, if you want to build something that matters, you have to stop waiting and start moving. The people who win in this world are the ones who stopped asking for permission and decided to build their own momentum. You see, most people spend their entire life waiting. They wait for a sign. They wait for the right time. They wait for someone to notice their potential. They wait for an opportunity to fall into their lap. But the truth is, opportunities don't just appear. They're created through discipline, action, and relentless focus. You don't find your next level. You build it with your own hands day by day, through effort nobody else sees. Waiting is a silent trap. It feels safe. It feels patient. But what it really does is rob you of your power. Because every second you spend waiting for something to change is a second you're not taking control. Life will not reward hesitation. It rewards the bold, the consistent, the people who take initiative when everyone else is standing still. And the harsh truth is this: if you don't take control of your own growth, someone else will control your life for you. You have everything you need to begin. You don't need more followers, more approval, or more comfort. You need fire. You need direction. You need the courage to start small and the stamina to keep building even when it's hard. You grow by doing the work, by creating value, by pushing your limits long before anyone believes in you. And if you stay at it, you'll make noise too loud to ignore. But you've got to get out of your head. You've got to stop thinking that growth is something that happens to you. It's not. Growth is a choice. Growth is a fight. Growth is the decision to get uncomfortable, to challenge yourself every single day, and to keep climbing even when you can't see the top yet. Most people don't fail because they don't have potential. They fail because they refuse to act. They have the tools but never pick them up. They have the vision but never build the bridge. Don't be that person. You don't need a perfect plan. You need the courage to move forward with what you have. Action creates clarity. Momentum builds confidence. But none of that can happen until you decide that you're done waiting. The world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe it to yourself to become the person you were born to be. That means stepping out of the shadows of hesitation and into the light of responsibility. Stop blaming your past. Stop wishing you had different circumstances. Stop waiting for someone to discover you. If nobody is giving you an opportunity, create one. If no one's showing you the path, carve your own. If you're not being invited to the table, build your own damn table. You don't need validation. You need movement. Every action you take is a signal to the universe that says, I'm not playing small anymore. And that energy, it changes everything. When you act from a place of personal responsibility, you become dangerous in the best way. You no longer wait for motivation, you create it. You no longer wish for support, you become your own support system. You no longer seek comfort, you find meaning in the struggle, because you understand that growth never comes easy. You've got to be willing to look like a beginner. You've got to be okay with failing in public. You've got to keep going when it's lonely, when it's slow, when it feels like no one's paying attention, because they aren't supposed to at the beginning. That's the test. That's where most people give up. They start strong, then quit when results don't come fast. But you keep going. You build in silence. You create your own momentum. And over time, the world begins to notice what you've built. Not because you waited, but because you worked. Because you showed up when it was boring. Because you kept learning. Because you chose discipline when others chose distraction. That's the difference between the people who dream and the people who achieve. The achievers don't sit around hoping for change. They become the change. Your future is shaped by what you do today, not by what you think about doing tomorrow. Every minute spent waiting is a minute wasted. There are books you could be reading, skills you could be building, connections you could be making, projects you could be starting. You're not stuck. You're just choosing to stand still. But that can change in an instant. One decision, one shift in mindset, and suddenly you're in motion again. Start where you are. Start small if you have to. But start. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert once felt unsure. What matters is that they took the first step, and then they took another. Success doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from moving forward, even when the moment feels imperfect. That's how you build growth. That's how you build power. Nobody's gonna do this for you. That's not a threat. That's a gift. Because it means you don't have to wait for anyone. You have the power. You get to decide. You can choose today to take control of your growth. You can choose to stop blaming your environment and start shaping your mindset. You can choose to stop scrolling and start learning. You can choose to stop watching and start creating. The life you want isn't out there somewhere. It's built from the decisions you make when no one's watching. It's built when you wake up early, when you study instead of scrolling, when you build something instead of complaining about what you lack. Your growth is built in the hours no one applauds, and that's where you separate yourself from the crowd. Everyone wants growth. Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to create it. They're waiting for the job offer, the mentor, the opportunity to magically appear. But if you want to rise, you've got to be different. You've got to be the one who wakes up and says, "No more waiting, I'm creating something today. I'm investing in myself today. I'm building, learning, improving, because my life is my responsibility." Don't wait for confidence to show up. Earn it. Don't wait for motivation to kick in. Build habits that don't rely on it. Don't wait for inspiration. Be the kind of person who creates it through action. Everything changes when you stop looking around for someone to lift you up and realize your growth has always been your job, your choices, your focus, your discipline. You have so much potential, but potential means nothing without execution. You have the ability to become someone incredible, but that only happens if you stop standing at the edge and start walking into the unknown. You've got to bet on yourself. You've got to believe that you're capable of building something from nothing, because you are. But belief without action is empty. So don't just believe, build. Don't just wish, work. This is your time. Not next week. Not next year. Now you've waited long enough. The opportunity you're looking for isn't something you find. It's something you create by getting up every day and doing the work that most people avoid. That's how you grow. That's how you rise. That's how you win. Number 7, build a daily habit of reading or listening to wisdom. Your mind is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it needs constant sharpening. If you want to grow, to evolve, to achieve more than you've ever dreamed, then you need to feed your mind with the right resources. Wisdom is the ultimate currency in life. It's not just about having information. It's about knowing how to use it to change your circumstances and transform your life. The problem is, too many people focus on entertainment, on distractions, on noise. But if you want to unlock your full potential, you must build a daily habit of reading or listening to wisdom. In the world we live in today, we're constantly bombarded with distractions. Our attention is pulled in a million different directions, and it's easy to get lost in the noise. We scroll through social media, watch hours of TV, or engage in mindless chatter. But none of that moves you closer to your goals. None of that enriches your mind or develops your character. If you truly want to elevate your life, you must carve out time every single day to absorb wisdom that challenges your thinking, expands your understanding, and pushes you to grow. Knowledge isn't just power, it's the foundation of everything you will achieve. And if you're not consistently feeding your mind with knowledge, you're leaving your growth up to chance. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that wisdom comes with age or experience. While those things can help, they're not the sole contributors to wisdom. Wisdom is something you must actively seek out. It's something you have to work at every day, and in a world full of instant gratification and fleeting moments of pleasure, building a habit of daily learning can be one of the most powerful decisions you ever make. Every time you choose to pick up a book, listen to an audiobook, or consume content that pushes your boundaries, you are choosing to invest in yourself. You are making the conscious decision to grow, to sharpen your mind, to stay ahead of the curve, and to become a person capable of achieving greatness. The truth is, most people don't commit to reading or listening to wisdom daily they don't prioritize it, and as a result, they stagnate. They keep repeating the same mistakes, experiencing the same struggles, and never fully stepping into their potential. But the individuals who change the world, who break through barriers, who defy the odds, are the ones who invest in their minds consistently. They make a daily habit of reading or listening to books, lectures, podcasts, and other sources of knowledge that feed their hunger for growth. They understand that the mind is like a muscle. It only gets stronger when you work it, but building this habit takes discipline. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may be tempted to pick up your phone, watch TV, or distract yourself with less valuable content. But the more you prioritize reading or listening to wisdom, the easier it becomes. It's a process that starts small but compounds over time. At first, it might feel like a chore, but as you start absorbing valuable information, your hunger for it grows. You begin to crave it. You begin to look forward to those moments where you can sit down and immerse yourself in knowledge, and as you do, your life will begin to shift in ways you never thought possible. One of the most significant benefits of consuming wisdom daily is that it broadens your perspective. Every piece of knowledge you gain opens your mind to new ideas, new possibilities, and new ways of thinking. It teaches you to see the world through different lenses. Instead of being trapped in a narrow view of what's possible, you begin to see the vastness of human potential. You realize that there is always more to learn, more to understand, and more to achieve. This mindset shift is one of the most powerful tools you can use to accelerate your growth. It's not enough to just consume information passively. You must engage with it. Think critically about what you read or hear. Reflect on how it applies to your life and what action you can take based on that knowledge. Wisdom without application is useless. The true power of wisdom lies in how you use it. Every book you read, every podcast you listen to, every lesson you absorb is an opportunity to grow, but it's only when you put that knowledge into action that it becomes a catalyst for change. And this daily habit of learning doesn't have to take hours. Even dedicating 15 to 30 minutes a day to reading or listening to something that adds value to your life can create massive results over time. The key is consistency. It's not about how much you consume in one sitting, but about making it a part of your daily routine. The power of incremental progress cannot be overstated. Over time, those small daily deposits of wisdom will accumulate and transform you into someone far more capable, knowledgeable, and focused than you were yesterday. Wisdom is like a treasure chest. And the more you open it, the more you discover. The more you read, the more you understand about the world, about yourself, and about what it takes to succeed. It gives you the tools to navigate life's challenges with confidence. It helps you avoid common mistakes. It teaches you how to think, how to solve problems, and how to lead. And when you apply it to your life, it unlocks doors you didn't even know existed. It gives you the ability to see opportunities when others see obstacles. It helps you think critically and make decisions that align with your long-term goals. And it teaches you the value of continuous self-improvement, showing you that no matter where you are in life, there's always room to grow. But here's the thing. Wisdom doesn't just come from books. It comes from life itself. It comes from listening to experts, to mentors, to people who have walked the path before you. It comes from experiences, failures, successes, and everything in between. Books are just one avenue for gaining wisdom. Podcasts, audiobooks, lectures, and interviews with successful individuals can also provide immense value. It's about actively seeking out knowledge from a variety of sources and staying open to new ideas. One of the most transformative aspects of building this daily habit is that it teaches you discipline. It's easy to be distracted. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world. But when you commit to reading or listening to wisdom every day, you're making a conscious choice to focus on what truly matters. You're choosing to invest in your future rather than getting lost in mindless entertainment. And that discipline spills over into other areas of your life. It makes you more productive. It makes you more focused. It makes you more determined to reach your goals. Because when you consistently invest in your mind, you develop a level of clarity and focus that spills into everything you do. And let's not forget the power of reflection. Wisdom isn't just about absorbing information. It's about thinking deeply about it. When you take time to reflect on what you've learned, you begin to internalize it. You start to see how it applies to your life. You make connections that you wouldn't have made before. And as you reflect, you begin to shift your mindset. You begin to see the world differently. You begin to make decisions that are aligned with your true values and goals. And that's when the real transformation happens. Building a daily habit of reading or listening to wisdom is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth. It's a practice that will shape your thinking, strengthen your decision-making, and give you the knowledge and perspective needed to build the life you desire. But you have to commit. You have to make it non-negotiable. Just like you wouldn't skip eating or sleeping, you shouldn't skip feeding your mind. The more you learn, the more you grow, and the more capable you become of achieving greatness. So start today. Dedicate time to feed your mind. Build the habit of daily learning, and watch as your life begins to change in ways you never imagined. The wisdom you gain today will shape the person you become tomorrow, and that person has the power to change the world. Number 8, push your limits and learn even when it feels tough. You don't grow in comfort. You don't build strength sitting back, waiting for things to be easy. The truth is, growth happens when you push your limits, when you step outside your comfort zone, when you push through the resistance that tries to hold you back. This is where the magic happens. You can't expect to change your life, reach your potential, or achieve greatness if you're only willing to learn when it's easy. True growth comes from pushing yourself to learn and grow, even when it feels tough. When you feel like giving up, when your body and mind scream at you to stop. Most people want the reward without the struggle. They want success without sacrifice, progress without pain. But success isn't built on a foundation of ease. The world doesn't reward those who quit at the first sign of difficulty. It rewards those who keep going, who push through when it feels impossible, who refuse to give in to the voice of defeat. If you want to transform your life, if you want to achieve what others think is out of reach, you have to be willing to endure discomfort, to keep pushing even when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. Think about the last time you faced something difficult. Maybe you were trying to learn a new skill, tackle a tough project, or face an obstacle you didn't feel prepared for. How did you respond? Did you shrink back, convinced that you weren't cut out for it? Or did you dig in your heels, push through the discomfort, and refuse to let fear or doubt stop you from moving forward? The reality is, when you push your limits, you're not just expanding your capacity for success. You're expanding your capacity for resilience. You're learning how to keep going when the world tells you to stop. And that's a skill that will carry you through any challenge you encounter in life. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't come easily. We live in a world where instant gratification is the norm. We want things to happen now. We want results yesterday. But life doesn't work like that. The things that are worth achieving are the things that require patience, persistence, and the ability to learn when it feels tough. No one becomes a master overnight. No one becomes great by taking the easy road. You have to earn it. And that process involves pushing through moments when you feel like you're not making progress. When every step forward feels like an uphill battle. But it's in those moments that you're building the mental toughness that will carry you to the next level. When you push your limits, you learn more than just the skill or knowledge you're pursuing. You learn about yourself. You learn how much stronger you are than you realize. You discover what you're truly capable of when you refuse to let fear or discomfort dictate your actions. You learn that your limits are often far beyond what you thought they were. You learn how to keep going when you don't feel like it, how to push through when it feels like everything is against you. This is where growth happens, right in the heart of the struggle. It's important to recognize that this process of pushing your limits isn't just about physical endurance. It's about mental and emotional growth as well. The body can take a lot more than we think. The mind can endure far more than we give it credit for. But it takes practice to stretch those limits. It takes intention, it takes focus, and it takes the willingness to embrace the discomfort that comes with pushing beyond what's familiar. When you're learning something new, especially something difficult, there will always be moments of frustration. There will be times when you want to quit, when you feel overwhelmed, when you doubt yourself. But those moments are opportunities in disguise. They're your chance to prove to yourself that you can handle more than you think. Learning through discomfort is where real transformation happens. Think about the muscle building process. When you lift weights, your muscles break down before they rebuild stronger. That process isn't comfortable. It's challenging, sometimes even painful, but the result is greater strength and resilience. The same is true for your mind and your spirit. The more you push yourself to learn and grow through tough times, the stronger you become. And just like with physical training, this process is cumulative. Each time you push through discomfort, you're building a deeper level of endurance that will carry over to the next challenge. The more you challenge yourself, the more you grow, and the more equipped you become to face future obstacles. The key to pushing through difficult moments is understanding that discomfort is a natural part of the growth process. When you embrace the fact that growth requires effort and struggle, you shift your mindset. Instead of viewing difficulty as something to avoid, you begin to see it as a signal that you're on the right path. Every time you feel that resistance, every time you face a challenge, you know you're getting closer to your goal. This shift in perspective is essential for growth, because it allows you to continue moving forward, even when things feel tough. There will be times when you fail. There will be moments when it feels like you're not getting anywhere, when you've tried everything and it still doesn't work. But those moments are not the end, they're the beginning. Failure isn't a sign to quit, it's a sign to adjust, to learn from your mistakes, and to keep going. The most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed the most. They've faced rejection, disappointment, and failure over and over. But each time they get back up, they learn from their mistakes and use them as stepping stones toward their goals. Pushing through failure is where resilience is built, and resilience is the foundation of success. Learning when it's tough is also about learning to trust the process. Success isn't instant. Results don't come overnight. The work you put in today will pay off tomorrow, but you have to have faith in that process. You have to trust that even though you can't see the results immediately, they're coming. This is one of the hardest parts of pushing your limits. It's easy to feel discouraged when you don't see immediate progress, but remember that growth is often invisible in the early stages. It's only later when you look back that you can see how far you've come. Trust in the process, trust in your efforts, and keep moving forward, even when it feels tough. So how do you push your limits? How do you embrace discomfort and use it as a tool for growth? It starts with a decision. You have to choose to take on challenges that stretch you. You have to commit to pushing through the hard times. You have to choose to keep going when you don't feel like it. The key is consistency. Don't expect to push your limits once and see massive change. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and being willing to learn through the struggles. And every time you choose to push past the discomfort, you build the strength and resilience needed to push even further next time. Success isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about embracing them. It's about facing the difficulties head-on and using them to fuel your growth. So don't wait for things to be easy. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Push your limits now, and watch as you transform into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Your future self will thank you for the work you put in today. Number 9. Invest in your mind daily and watch yourself transform. If you want to transform your life, you need to start with your mind. The most powerful tool you have at your disposal is the one that's between your ears. Too many people focus on external circumstances, thinking that the key to success lies in the right job, the right connections, or the right environment. But the truth is, all of those things are secondary. The real key to unlocking your potential is investing in your mind day after day until your thoughts, beliefs, and actions align with the success you desire. The mind is a fertile ground for growth. Just like you would water and nourish a plant to help it thrive, you need to water and nourish your mind every single day. The things you feed your mind will either empower you or hold you back. The thoughts you entertain, the information you consume, the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, all of these shape who you become. And if you aren't intentional about what you feed your mind, you will find yourself drifting, reacting to life instead of creating it. When you decide to invest in your mind every day, you're making a commitment to your future self. You're saying, I will become better today than I was yesterday. Your mind is the engine behind everything you do. It's the source of your actions, your decisions, and your habits. What you think about yourself, your goals, and your abilities will directly impact the way you show up in the world. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes, or that success is for someone else, that's exactly what you'll experience. But if you choose to invest in your mind, to flood it with positive, empowering thoughts, knowledge, and wisdom, you will begin to see your life shift in ways you never imagined. The mind is a powerful tool, but it's also fragile. It's easily influenced, and it's shaped by the information you consume. Every time you scroll through social media, watch TV, or listen to negative conversations, you're allowing your mind to be shaped by external influences. This is why investing in your mind isn't just about reading a book or listening to a podcast once in a while. It's about daily, consistent effort to feed your mind with the right things. You have to make it a priority, just like eating, sleeping, and exercising. Your mind requires nourishment, and the more you give it, the more it will grow and thrive. When you make the decision to invest in your mind, you're taking control of your life. You're no longer at the mercy of outside forces. You're becoming the architect of your own reality. But investing in your mind isn't a passive activity. It requires action. It requires intention. It's not enough to just hope for the best. You have to actively seek out the knowledge and wisdom that will help you grow. You have to challenge your own thinking, question your assumptions, and constantly strive to learn and improve. This doesn't mean you have to spend hours each day studying or consuming information. It means finding small, consistent ways to engage your mind every single day. Whether it's reading a chapter of a book, listening to a podcast during your commute, or taking a few minutes to meditate and reflect, these small habits add up over time. The beauty of investing in your mind is that the return on investment is limitless. The more you learn, the more you grow. The more you challenge yourself to think differently, the more you expand your worldview. This constant growth feeds your confidence and your ability to handle whatever comes your way. When you invest in your mind, you develop mental toughness, emotional intelligence, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with clarity and focus. You become a person who is capable of handling adversity, of turning setbacks into opportunities, and of staying focused on your goals no matter what. But the key to real transformation lies in the consistency of this investment. Too many people treat personal development like a fad, something they'll do for a few weeks or months before moving on to the next shiny object. But true change doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent effort, of showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't see immediate results. Investing in your mind isn't about quick fixes. It's about laying the foundation for long-term success. It's about building habits and practices that will continue to pay dividends for the rest of your life. One of the most powerful ways to invest in your mind is by reading. Books are a treasure trove of knowledge, wisdom, and insight. The most successful people in the world are avid readers. They understand that the mind is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it will atrophy. By reading, you expose yourself to new ideas, different perspectives, and strategies that can help you grow. Whether you're reading about personal development, history, philosophy, or business, you're giving yourself the tools to think more critically, to solve problems more effectively, and to make better decisions. But it's not just about reading for the sake of reading. It's about reading with purpose. When you pick up a book, ask yourself what you want to learn from it. Take notes, reflect on the ideas presented, and figure out how you can apply them to your life. Reading isn't just a passive activity. It's an active process of learning and growing. And if you commit to reading consistently, even just a few pages a day, you'll be amazed at how much your mind can absorb and how quickly you can begin to apply that knowledge to your life. Another way to invest in your mind is by seeking out new experiences. Growth doesn't just come from books and podcasts. It also comes from real-life experiences. When you step outside your comfort zone, when you try new things, you expand your horizons. You challenge your beliefs, assumptions, and habits. Whether it's traveling to a new country, taking up a new hobby, or engaging in a difficult conversation, new experiences force you to think differently, to learn, and to grow. They push you to become more adaptable, more creative, and more open-minded. But perhaps the most important way to invest in your mind is through self-reflection. Too often, we go through life on autopilot, reacting to the world around us, without ever pausing to reflect on our thoughts, actions, and beliefs. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for growth because it allows you to examine where you've been, where you are, and where you want to go. It helps you identify your strengths and weaknesses, your habits and patterns, and the beliefs that are holding you back. When you take the time to reflect on your life, you gain clarity and insight into what you need to change in order to become the person you want to be. The best part about investing in your mind is that you are the one who has the power to shape it. You don't need permission from anyone else. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect circumstances. The choice is yours, and it's one you can make right now. Every single day is an opportunity to invest in your mind. Whether you're reading a book, listening to a podcast, journaling, meditating, or simply having a deep conversation with someone, you're actively shaping your future. The more you invest, the more you will transform. This is the kind of transformation that lasts. When you invest in your mind, you don't just change your circumstances, you change who you are at the core. Your mindset shifts, your habits shift, and your worldview shifts. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You become a person who is capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. And the best part is that this transformation is entirely within your control. You have the power to shape your mind, and by doing so, you have the power to shape your entire life. So commit to investing in your mind every day. Make it a priority. Challenge yourself to learn more, to grow more, and to become the best version of yourself. Watch as your life transforms before your eyes, as the person you become creates the success and happiness you've always wanted. Number 10. Make education your priority to achieve success and happiness. The moment you decide to make education your priority is the moment you unlock the door to your greatest success and happiness. Education is the gateway that opens up the world in ways you've never imagined. It's the tool that sharpens your mind, expands your horizons, and provides you with the knowledge and skills you need to create the life you've always dreamed of. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary things and those who remain stuck in mediocrity often lies in their commitment to learning. It is not just about formal schooling. It is about the ongoing, relentless pursuit of knowledge in every area of your life. Every day we are presented with opportunities to learn. The question is, are you seizing them? Education isn't confined to classrooms, textbooks, or degrees. It's a mindset. It's the belief that no matter where you are in life, you have the ability to grow, evolve, and improve. When you make education a priority, you are making the decision to become better than you were yesterday, to challenge yourself to think critically, and to constantly push the boundaries of what you know. This isn't about memorizing facts or acing tests. It's about cultivating a mindset that values continuous growth and self-improvement. Success and happiness are often seen as distant goals, reserved for those who have the right opportunities or the right connections. But the truth is, success and happiness are within your reach, and they can be achieved by anyone who is willing to invest in their education. This doesn't mean that education alone guarantees success, but without it, you limit your potential. Knowledge opens doors, but it's up to you to walk through them. Education equips you with the tools to navigate life's challenges, solve problems, and make better decisions. It empowers you to take control of your future and to create the kind of life you want to live. Making education a priority means dedicating yourself to the lifelong pursuit of knowledge. It means seeing learning as an ongoing journey, not a destination. Whether you're reading books, attending seminars, taking online courses, or simply engaging in meaningful conversations, every piece of new information is a building block that shapes your future. The more you learn, the more capable you become of handling life's obstacles with ease. You gain the ability to make informed choices, to think critically about the world around you, and to stay ahead of the curve in an ever-changing world. One of the greatest benefits of prioritizing education is that it expands your perspective. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is to know. And in that realization, you begin to see the world differently. You start to appreciate different cultures, viewpoints, and ideas. Your mindset becomes more open, and you develop the ability to adapt to new situations with confidence and grace. Knowledge allows you to connect with others on a deeper level, to empathize with people from different walks of life, and to see things from multiple angles. This is what makes education so powerful. It transforms not just your mind but your entire outlook on life. Moreover, education provides you with the tools to succeed in the real world. We live in a time when information is more accessible than ever before. You no longer have to wait for someone to teach you. You can learn anything you want at any time. The world is full of resources, books, articles, videos, podcasts, and courses that can teach you new skills and help you develop expertise in virtually any area. This is an incredible advantage, and those who make the most of it are the ones who rise to the top. In today's fast-paced world, staying relevant and competitive means continually updating your knowledge and adapting to new trends. Making education a priority ensures that you are always one step ahead, ready to tackle any challenge that comes your way. But it's not just about accumulating knowledge. It's about applying what you learn. Education isn't meant to be stored away in your mind like a set of facts. The true power of education lies in its ability to change your actions. When you prioritize education, you begin to make decisions based on knowledge, not assumptions or guesses. You start to approach problems with a clearer mind and a more focused strategy. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, education gives you the ability to make informed choices that lead to positive outcomes. The more you learn, the more you realize that success isn't about luck. It's about making the right decisions consistently, and those decisions are based on what you know. There is a misconception that education is only for those who want to become experts or professionals in a specific field. In reality, education is for everyone. It's for anyone who wants to improve their life, whether that's by starting a business, changing careers, becoming a better parent, or simply becoming a more well-rounded person. The knowledge you gain from education doesn't just make you more marketable in the job world, it also enriches your life on a personal level. Education helps you understand yourself better, develop new interests, and create a life that is filled with purpose and meaning. Another powerful aspect of prioritizing education is that it keeps you motivated and inspired. The process of learning can be incredibly fulfilling. Each new piece of knowledge you acquire sparks new ideas, new questions, and new possibilities. The more you learn, the more excited you become about what you can achieve. Education is not just about accumulating facts. It's about awakening your curiosity and fueling your passion. It reminds you that there is always more to discover, and that your potential is limitless. This sense of discovery is what keeps life exciting and gives you the drive to keep going, even when things get tough. Success doesn't happen overnight, and neither does the process of learning. Making education a priority requires discipline and commitment. It's about making learning a habit, just like any other daily routine. It means setting aside time every day to read, listen to educational content, or engage in activities that stimulate your mind. It's about making a conscious decision to prioritize growth over comfort. This level of commitment may feel difficult at first, especially when the distractions of life seem to take precedence. But once you begin to make learning a consistent part of your life, you'll begin to notice the profound impact it has on your success and happiness. In addition to formal education, life experience plays a crucial role in your personal growth. There is no textbook that can prepare you for every situation in life. The real lessons come from stepping outside your comfort zone, taking risks and making mistakes. Education is about learning from every experience. Whether it's a success or a failure, it's about being open to new possibilities, learning from your mistakes and using those lessons to move forward. The combination of formal education and life experience creates a powerful foundation for success. Finally, prioritizing education is a mindset that never ends. The most successful and happiest people in the world are those who never stop learning. They understand that the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey, and they embrace it wholeheartedly. By making education your priority, you are not just preparing for a future that is successful, you are shaping a future that is fulfilling, meaningful, and rich in purpose. The knowledge you gain empowers you to live your life with intention, and to create the kind of world you want to live in. So start today, make education your priority, and watch as it transforms your life in ways you never thought possible.